Welcome to the latest episode of the B-Movie Club. I'm your host, Kevin. This week we'll be discussing the 1988 action comedy classic, Crocodile Dundee 2, starring Paul Hogan, some other people you may recognize. For those of you joining us for the first time each week in the B-Movie Club, I discuss certain guilty pleasures and forgotten classics from the past. You can go ahead and go to our page on Facebook, Original B-Movie Club. Give us the big thumbs up, spread the word. You can also reach us on our YouTube page, Kevin D, that's me. Hit the subscribe button. It's totally free. You can also go to our page on Twitter, at KD9575. Feel free to tweet us any movie suggestions, any comments, any questions, favorite scenes or favorite quotes, and we may just talk about it on the show. Crocodile Dundee 2. In this movie, obviously it's a sequel, Crocodile is now living in New York, doing his thing, kind of still being that fish out of water thing. Everybody loves him because he's very friendly and outgoing, which evidently is a stark contrast to the usual residents of New York City. Things are progressing with his girlfriend, Sue Charlton, who works at the newspaper. However, there's a black cloud beginning to form over Crocodile's world. Sue's ex-husband is this photojournalist type who goes on location into dangerous areas and brings back like hard to get pictures, I guess, for newspapers and magazines and things. He is down in South America, in Colombia, where he's got some photographs that he's taken of a big-time drug lord murdering a guy. So he's got to get these pictures back to New York so the FBI can get the pictures, so that they can, the DEA, whoever, can go and arrest this guy, and that'll be it. Sadly, her ex-husband is murdered, but not before he mails those pictures to Sue, the only person he can trust. So now, which is always a nice thing to do, I know the guys are about to kill me, so I'm going to give this stuff to you as well. So now you're a hit on the target list. Good times. Send it to your worst enemy. How about that? Don't send it to, ex-wife? I don't know. Maybe it wasn't so amicable after all. Anywho, so now they know the drug guys and the murderers are coming to New York to take out Sue. But they didn't know they had Crocodile Dundee is there, who we all know, the international adventurer who lived out in the outback in Australia wrestling crocodiles, which obviously means he's a master of disguise, of all forms of martial arts, weapons, counter-espionage, counter-terrorism. He's basically James Bond, Indiana Jones, all wrapped up into one. You know what I'm saying? So, again, like I said, Crocodile Dundee is a friendly, liked guy. He's hanging out at the local tavern, pub, if you will. One of his buddies there is this gangstery-looking guy named Leroy Brown, and he comes to Crocodile because Crocodile's like, "Hey, I need to get a job." Okay, that's my Paul Hogan impression. "I need a job. I can't wrestle crocodiles out here in New York City anymore." I don't know, kind of went off the rails there. So Leroy Brown, who's really not a gangster, he just kind of dresses one because his name is Leroy Brown. He's got to be bad Leroy Brown. Secretly, he sells stationery to businesses in the Manhattan area. So he needs Crocodile Dundee to basically go around and deliver his stationery for him. So while he's doing this, he manages to talk a suicide guy off a ledge. He's rescuing babies and cats out of trees, all sorts of good things. And as the drug dealers come on the scene, he's having to fight them off using his special crocodile abilities, I guess. I don't want to give everything away, but after battling and defeating them in New York, they have to go back to Australia. See, where the first movie starts in Australia and they come to New York, this one starts in New York and goes back to Australia. The drug dealers follow them to Australia, and that's when the fun begins. Okay? Like I said, I don't want to spoil everything. What can I tell you about this movie? I mentioned this earlier. The original Crocodile Dundee movie is a fun kind of thing where it introduced the Crocodile Dundee character, who's actually based on a real person, shockingly enough. And just basically, he goes to New York with this reporter, Sue, and, you know, again, not much of a plot. It's just him kind of being in New York. Oh, that's weird. You guys do things differently out here in New York. That kind of thing. While he's walking around wearing like an alligator skin jacket, alligator boots, big old Bowie knife. That's not a knife. That kind of thing. This one has much more of a plot. Okay, again, this time he's in New York. He's battling drug dealers. I guess the next one maybe he'll deal with ninjas. I don't know. So that more of a plot. There's more going on at this point. Paul Hogan, who's already an international celebrity. Remember, for those of you guys my age, he also did those Australia tourist board commercials where it was like, we'll put another shrimp on the barbie for you, that kind of thing, before he became Crocodile Dundee. So now he's even a bigger star. This movie was a worldwide success, although not as good as the first one. The critics felt, again, Paul Hogan had a certain chemistry, which is we appreciate, but the movie itself wasn't as good as the first one. Whatever. What are you going to do? We know that about the time the first movie came out, Paul Hogan actually divorced his wife of like 28 years and married his co-star, Linda Kozlowski, if I can pronounce that correctly, who played Sue. So they actually were together. They got married, and they actually just recently filed for divorce, like last year. So there you go. They were together for a long time. Evidently, they were hoping for yet another Crocodile Dundee. Although they did do a Crocodile Dundee 3, Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, about 15 years after Crocodile Dundee 2. Did not do very well, sadly. I'm sorry to say. Other people that you might recognize in this movie. This is actually the world broadcast TV movie first appearance of the actor Stephen Root, who's seen in a bunch of things. He was in News Radio. He was in Office Space. He's been in a ton of stuff. Leroy Brown was played by a young Charles S. Dutton. If you might remember him, he was Rock from that TV series on Fox, Rock. He's also been in a bunch of other things I'm sure you'd recognize. Movie was filmed, obviously, in and around New York City. It also, half the movie was again filmed in Australia, showing off the beauty of the vast desert areas that Crocodile likes to hang out in. So there you go. Another little tidbit. I said that the Crocodile Dundee character was based upon an actual person who was out in the outback and fought off crocodiles and blah, blah, blah. It's a sad story because that guy wound up suing Paul Hogan and the production company over the Crocodile Dundee movies because he never got his cut of the action, if you know what I mean. And actually died. This is a horrible story. He died in a shootout with the police in the 90s, I believe. So it's a very sad story. Paul Hogan, we're still waiting for, something else from him. He's not doing a whole heck of a lot these days. He lives up in Santa Barbara, so if you're ever in the Santa Barbara area and you happen to see him, say, hey, what's up? So there you have it. There's really not much else to tell. I enjoyed both of the Crocodile Dundee movies. I recently watched them. I actually got them for a Christmas present. This is how I do. I say, you know what, for Christmas, how about we dig out some old crazy movies from the 80s that I barely remember, but I remember enjoying, and let's watch those. I watched both the movies. Still have not seen Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles. That's for my birthday, I guess. I enjoyed them. They're fun. Paul Hogan does have a certain charisma playing the crocodile guy. It's fun. Like I said, definitely has more of a plot than the first one. It does the job. You know what I'm saying? It actually, when it came out, it actually had a better first 2 weeks at the box office than Rambo 3 did, which, say what you want. Crocodile Dundee beat Rambo. Hey. It wound up being like the 6th highest grossing movie of 1988, so that's something. It currently is at 12% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. In the course of doing the B-Movie Club, I've seen some truly horrific movies over the years. Crocodile Dundee 2 really isn't that bad. I mean, you could say 55, 60%. I think 12% is ridiculous. It's fun. It does the job. He pulls out his knife. He does all the crocodile kind of stuff. Maybe you wanted more crocodiles in this, perhaps. But other than that, I enjoyed it. It is good, clean entertainment. There really isn't that much violence. I mean, he's kind of fighting off drug dealers. Some people get killed. I guess that's some violence. But it's not anything ridiculous. It isn't like one of the Saw movies, okay? It's good family entertainment, in my opinion. It is still streaming instantly on Netflix, so rush out and see it. If you have not seen either of the Crocodile Dundee movies, it's not necessary to see the first one before you watch the second one. There's no cliffhanger in Crocodile Dundee that you're like, I wonder what happens. I have to see the next one. It's a standalone story. I would say watch them both, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. I cannot vouch for Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles. Although, this is an interesting side note, one of the writers of Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles is he does fantasy football and baseball advice on ESPN. His name is Matthew Barry. So if you happen to see him, ask him about Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles. So there you have it. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the comedy genre for next week's movie. We're going to do Modern Problems, starring Chevy Chase. It is streaming instantly on Netflix, so rush out and see it. Send me your favorite scenes, favorite quotes, any comments and questions that you have. Also send me movie suggestions for the future. You can reach me on our page on Facebook, Original B Movie Club, thumbs up. Go on to our page on YouTube, subscribe, won't you? And you can tweet me on Twitter at KD9575. Don't forget to spread the word, tell your friends, enemies, and your strangers. As you know, I end every episode with a totally out of context quote. And here it is. What are your chances of getting out of here with that jacket on? Better than average. That's not really a fair quote. That's actually a dialogue. I'm putting on a scene for you, so I apologize. Next week, Modern Problems starring Chevy Chase. Thank you for joining us, and be well.